Welcome everyone to the Property and Development meeting, October 13th. And I'd like to call the meeting to order at 1:01 p.m. Evelyn, has roll call been done?
Yes, and we have quorum.
Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none. Did anyone have any concerns with the minutes of the September 8th meeting that was sent out? Seeing none, I ask for a mover and a seconder for those minutes. Moved by Dan and seconded by John. Thank you. And today we have a delegation, Mr. Joe Hall from EMTERRA Group in Renfrew, and I'll turn it over to Joe.
Actually, sorry, Vice Chair Hunt. Chair Hunt, could you just, we had a motion, a mover and a seconder. We just did not have a vote on those minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
All in favor of passing the minutes as produced? Thank you. And now I'll turn it over to you, Joe.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you to Alistair for suggesting that I pulled together something here and forward it to you guys and have a little brief conversation. I'll try not to take too much of your time. I think a slide deck has been provided. And so Sean, if you could pull that up. And I think everybody has received this in their packages. Excuse me. And so I'm just going to give you a brief overview and introduction of ourselves and the outlook for Renfrew County. So with that being said, next slide. So I will go over the company, our plans, our where we are with our facility. We can talk about end markets, our fees, our trucks. The challenge is always our insurance, and I'll take any questions from the audience here. Next slide. So our mission. So I'll just say right off the top, I have been with EMTERRA since July of this year. I've been in the industry for over 30 years, and I've been doing some local stuff here through a different company. But EMTERRA gave me a call here to relaunch the recycling facility here in the town of Renfrew. So I'm going to try and give some corporate information here. So excuse me if I go quickly, but you have a copy for your future reference if I go too quick. So EMTERRA's mission, really, it's about helping people and businesses to become stewards of the environment and for the future, such as taking care of what we have in our hands right now and for our children and grandchildren. So the vision, it's really about circular economy. So through regenerative economies and ecosystems, that's another way to say we're here for the circular economy. So where we recycle something, it's for continued use, and so that we don't lose it as a resource. Next slide. So EMTERRA's structure, it's pretty diverse. So there's a number of families within the EMTERRA group. So EMTERRA is here in Renfrew, in the Renfrew division. It's EMTERRA Environmental, but there's also an EMTERRA Environmental in the U.S. They have a landfill and a new recycling plant in Michigan. We have a tire recycling company out of Brent. And in Hamilton, we have the Canadian Liquids Processing Plant. So I'll get into that, what they do there. And then, but there's another company called Rise Solutions. So that's a producer responsibility organization to which I'll speak briefly on. Next slide, please. So go into detail about the company since 1976. And throughout the decades, it has done various milestones, and I'll let you read that at your leisure. Next slide. So EMTERRA by the numbers. So as it relates to recycling in the blue box, we provide service to 10% of the Canadian population. So EMTERRA, as much as we have some assets here in Renfrew County, we have plants across Canada. And again, I'll have another slide on that. As it relates to tires, 3 million tires have been collected and processed. We do 500,000 metric tons of recyclables have been collected and processed and sold. EMTERRA itself has 1,100 employees, and I'll speak into the Renfrew side of things. Out of this office, we have 11 staff. So we're a small cog in this big wheel. EMTERRA itself has been in the business for 43 years. We have a vast collection fleet, over 600 vehicles, again, in EMTERRA Renfrew division. I think we're up to 10 vehicles now. So again, a small cog in a big wheel. And what's interesting here, though, is 30% of our fleet is powered by compressed natural gas. So it's very, very cost effective and environmentally friendly for that 30%. Thank you. So EMTERRA is a Canadian agency or a Canadian company from BC to Ontario here. And EMTERRA Renfrew division is the furthest east operation in Canada for this company. So as it relates to Ontario, we have the next closest one is Peterborough. We have operations in Kingston. We're chasing down some work down in, and this is processing credits. We're chasing down some work in Quinte West. And plus we're in different cities across the GTA. Next slide. So our efforts, is quite varied. I'll start at the bottom here. That compressed natural gas number I gave you just in the previous slides, that replaces almost 100,000 cars from the road annually. That's how effective compressed natural gas is. And as it relates to the amount of product we move, and product being organics from landfill, it's almost 8,000 trucks per year. And that's tractor trailers, not just your regular garbage trucks going down the road. So we have a balance to achieve, and it's quite an effort at times, but at the corporate level, there's a lot of social, economic, and environmental responsibilities and needs that are being met on every day. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the perfect slide for presentation. So these are the various awards that EMTERRA has received over the decades. So again, I'll let you refer back to that at your own measure, because I can hardly read it because I don't have my reading glasses. Next slide. So EMTERRA Environmental, we are vertically integrated. So from the recycling truck going down the road to the processing plant, which we have here in Renfrew, and then ultimately the movement of that product into the end markets. So that's vertical integration, and we deal with waste, battery, yard waste, organics collections. We deal with all forms of source generation from municipal, residential, and ICI sector. And yeah, our network is quite broad, and it's pretty extensive in the sense of our network. So this, what I'll note about this company here, the assets it purchased, it's no longer a standalone entity. We are part of a larger family, and when we need something, we just call and we coordinate the effort to provide support. And I can speak to a couple of examples of that later on. Next slide. Yeah, the tire recycling. I know this area is in dire need of some support. I am trying to work with EMTERRA itself to see if they can get some greater collection opportunities going on here, because I know none of the municipalities in Renfrew County do need more support. But this speaks to what we do with the tires once we have it. So they're actually processing upwards of 12 tractor trailer loads per day. That's well over 144,000 tires per day, and it produces various products, as you can see here. Next slide. So this RISE is a producer responsibility organization. So I'm not sure how much the county council here and the people I'm speaking to are dealing with the transition of the blue box responsibility from municipal to industry. This is where RISE comes into play. So RISE will work with the stewards, the producers of the products that go into the blue box, to arrange for and manage its collection and end-of-life management at industry's cost. So RISE is a business line that works more with the companies that produce products and integrates solutions for municipalities. Next slide. Green products. So various commodities, crumb rubber, transformations of waste washer fluid. That's from Canadian Liquids Processors, and we produce ethanol. So one of the things there is the ethanol, or the plant in Hamilton. It's gone from doing ethanol and washer fluid to I'm drawing a blank there, hand sanitizers. So we actually produce a large volume of that product now for distribution and use in the consumer market. Next slide, please. Materials marketing, and the Renfrew plant now feeds into this whole material marketing family side of things. So we have a team based out of BC that deals with all the products that we actually produce here, be it aluminum, various plastics, various fibers, cardboard. All that is moved and sold through the team out of British Columbia. So Doris Wong, she's our VP of Materials Marketing. She's quite the genius on being able to find a home for everything that we produce. Plus, not only what EMTERRA does. EMTERRA was part of the conglomerate that dealt with the British Columbia's printed paper and packaging program, and they've generated over 170,000 metric tons of product to which she moved and sold. Next slide, please. So various projects in this industry, you have to be engaged with the various stewards. So we've worked with Keurig, Tim Hortons, and actually larger municipalities as it relates to their recycling programs. EMTERRA actually provided or made and sold some blue box lids made from recycled tires. So that helped with litter issues in that community. Next slide. So the best in class, excuse me. So we worked with the best in class clients. So these are recognized communities through various awards programs. So Peel, Sarnia, Toronto, Metro Vancouver. So we've worked with Recycle BC. So that would be the new agency that Ontario may or may not create as it relates to when it transitions from the current Blue Box program to stewardship responsibility. In British Columbia, they did that a number of years ago. And the agency that took that work on was called Recycle BC. So we deal with the commercial sector, as you can see, Tesla, Novistar, and other companies. The retail side of things, so Canadian Tire and Walmart are the two corporations that EMTERRA Tire Recycling works for. So EMTERRA has the contract to collect and manage all the tires from Canadian Tire and Walmart service centers across Canada. And of course, we work with various beverage companies and manufacturers. Next slide, and I'll speak now about our home initiatives here in Renfrew County. Next slide. So everybody here at this plant, and including our drivers, are local people. Not that I'll say this, everybody in the plant is from Renfrew County. Our drivers, we have a couple from Renfrew County, but some are Lanark and some are out of Kentville, North Grenville, because we just got a contract down in that area. But we are Eastern Ontario in that respect. We've retained the previous staff here at the recycling plant for their experience. And as I was speaking about drivers and everything else, we're increasing our efforts to hire and retain drivers. It's always a challenge. You speak to any of the service providers in this industry. It's something that we always have to strive to achieve. So we have various incentives. So when we do get some more contracts locally, you may or may not see, if you're looking for a job, what kind of incentive plans we have, productivity and customer service, information packages, and so forth. Next slide. The local economy. Of course, being in the town of Renfrew now, we are looking to shop local, and we have been quite successful so far. We've got vendors from Rankin, from Edmonton Bromley, town of Renfrew, and a myriad of other operations and companies that we're sourcing services from. So our preference is here to hire locally only because it's it's better that way, because if you try and get somebody from further out, as you can well imagine, you source them from further away, the more money you'll end up paying for those service calls. So there is a huge spin-off already, economic spin-off that I could be proud to say we spent, and I think it's in the upcoming slide. Let's go to the next slide. One of the aspects that we've done so far, just our upgrades and investments, and this is primarily in material supplies. We've spent over $3 million already in this facility as it relates to upgrades and working with local companies. So I don't know if anybody in this audience has been to the old plant that was here. It was very tired. So we're going through a great initiative here to upgrade the baler, our electrical systems, the various trucks, and various equipment repairs. If you've driven by the place recently, I spent a good 3 weeks, almost a month, cleaning up the yard after 30 years of neglect. So it's pretty spruced up now, so please drive by. But if you wait a month and a bit, just before Christmas, we'll have a new roof. We just awarded a contract to put that into place. We've ordered the material supplies. That's another $650,000 investment going to happen in the next 2 months. Back into the plant, we have added an optical sorter and fabricated and implemented a old corrugated cardboard screen to save on labor, but also to increase productivity. We have planned investments coming down the pipe, but that's contingent upon getting more work. So this is a cue to everybody here. Any municipality who's about to put out any RFP or tender for their waste management services, please include myself, Joseph Hall, into that tender document. My email's at the end, but it's joseph.hall@enterra.ca. So I look forward to any future work or any future work opportunities. So the local depot, we've restarted it here, and we're working to expand other drop-off opportunities for other materials, including batteries, electronics, hazardous waste, textiles, and a few other things planned for the next couple of years. Next slide. So our end markets, I'll just gloss over this, but it doesn't look good. It's not just because of COVID, but the global economy's been kind of up and down all over the place. But the end markets for the materials we produce, it's been soft for various reasons. And I won't go into the global economy there. But the primary reason is that China decided to shut down a lot of the imports. It's still available, but it has a real ripple effect across the globe. Next slide. So for those communities working with us right now, this pricing has been set, and this was set back in earlier in the year, and we're maintaining this price to date. So for two-stream recycling, which means you have fiber and containers, so you keep them separate, it's $107 per metric ton for each of those product commodities. We are able to receive and process single stream, which means those two streams put together. That's at a higher rate of $160 per metric ton, as it takes more effort to separate the fibers from containers and then further separate out the products and achieve a good product to sell. At this time, we don't provide any revenue share other than clean corrugated cardboard. If we do take that in, we are able to provide some rebate subject to the current market price. And you'd get a few dollars rebate at this point in time if you're a private company. We do review pricing every once in a while, and thank you for moving already. You can go ahead, Sean. Trucks, and you can bypass that one as well. Fleet plans. Yeah, so we currently have on site here 4 trucks. And we just expanded it by 3 more trucks down in North Grenville. We've got their collection contract, and we just got awarded the Lanark contract. This for the village. It's only half a truck, like a half-day collection, give or take. So we are expanding slowly but surely. And we have the capability of having more trucks in here within weeks, should we receive or lucky enough to have another award for another collection tender. I think the next one is insurance update. And we only put that in here because as municipalities know, and you probably hear from the local businesses, and actually there was a CBC article on this morning about the challenges of the insurance industry, not of the industry, but of the small companies trying to buy insurance. Premiums are going through the roof, and waste management is no different. There are some that have experienced a huge increase, almost 700%. And we are self-insured to a point, and our deductible is fairly high. But I was speaking to an audience that's self-insured most likely, so I think you guys understand that. But as a company, it is a burden to bear, and it's always a challenge to maintain that insurance, adequate insurance, especially when we have to deliver the services that we do, because everybody needs to be covered. So with that, that's my 30-second overview. If you do have any questions, I'll take them now. But there's my coordinates. So it's joseph.hall@emterra.ca. And my cell number is 432-0066. So I'll take any questions, or feel free to reach out to me after.
Any questions? Mayor TJ.
Thank you. So could we get a copy of that presentation, please?
I can send it to you if you send me an email, or I provided a copy to staff at the county.
County? Okay, so maybe
we'll
the
be sure to
county.
distribute. We'll distribute
Okay.
it to all the council.
Thank you very much, Craig. Thank you.
Any further questions? Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. Just to Joseph, I've seen confidential on the documents. Are you going to
Yeah.
the confidentiality?
Yes, this was, like I say, I recycled this presentation back in November before we were operational. So yeah, this is public information, the context of anything I provided.
Councillor Emo.
Just further to the presentation, Joe, I have been by your plant, so thank you for cleaning it up. As you said, it had some challenges after 30 years, and I'm glad to see the investment in the roof. Having been in and out of that plant over the years, I can attest to the need. So, is there? Do you have a breakdown of how many of the 19 municipalities in Renfrew County that you have currently have contracts with, or are you just in the very early stages?
So we have a processing contracts within the county of Renfrew for Renfrew, Arnprior, and McNabb Braeside. We just are signing one with Abbotsford Bromley to receive their material. And that's it.
Okay.
And this is why I'm thankful for this presentation opportunity, because I am reaching out, and I have reached out, and I've got to provide the proposal to Bonnechere Valley and BLR, Broommill, Lindop, Raglan, because they used to be part of the old facility here. And then, of course, anybody who has current contracts, notwithstanding those with the Waste Recovery Center. Like if I looked at Deep River, I know the material's driving right by us, so I'd love to have an opportunity to talk to the community there to see if they can coordinate having their material dropped here as opposed to going down to Carlton Place. But yeah, long answer to a short question. We have 4 communities in our fold right now and looking to grow that a little bit.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything further? One question, Joe. When you talk about the 2-stream, and I'm not really familiar with that, so
Okay,
fiber, which would be the paper products, is that?
that'd be correct. Yeah, paper would be the fiber, and then the container stream would be the second stream, which is your glass, cans, plastics, aseptic packaging, which would be milk cartons. We still do not do bags and film, and the polystyrene at this point in time.
Polystyrene being the white plastic or the white containers?
Would be like a foam coffee cup or the package that's around a TV or any electronic that you receive. So that's polystyrene, the white foam.
So you said at this point, so is that something that you may be looking into?
Oh, absolutely. You look at any of the commodities in the market, everything. You might see the recycling logo on it, but while technically it's recyclable, it's not necessarily part of any program. And to that point, there is a way to recycle polystyrene, and there is a way to recycle film bags. It's just not at the curb. So there is a way to do it. It's just a matter of putting in place the system to collect it and manage it, and find a home for it, of course.
Thank you. And one last question. You have roll-off trucks. So where we have land transfer sites, we presently have our own truck, but sometimes it's out of service. Will you do pickup at transfer sites?
We can coordinate that for you because currently we do not have a roll-off truck, but that is in the plans. But if you reach out to us for some support, we have a couple companies that we work with that we could get them to give you a hand, especially when something goes down, because I wish my trucks wouldn't go down either, but we know they do.
Thank you. So any further questions? Councilor Remo.
Thank you. And Joe, as the province moves to full producer responsibility, is there an expansion in your role? And will there be more products? Because right now we're being told there's, the truck batteries and the larger batteries, there's another company coming on stream that's going to receive those. So will you become more, will you be taking more product out of the landfills as we move to full producer responsibility?
That is the plan. And I'll keep it to the point of printed paper packaging though. So as you said, truck batteries, that would not be in my purview or this plant purview, but printed paper packaging, anything when you walk into the grocery store, anything of that nature, we would looking to increase the products that we do, because that's one of the reasons why this is happening across Ontario, is so industry takes responsibility for everything they produce. And across Ontario, there will be a standard list of materials that will be picked up and collected and processed and put to end market.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that very informative presentation.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. And I look forward to hearing from any and all of you, and keep us in mind, as I said, for any future work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we'll move now to the development and property reports, administration, Mr. Morrow.
Just having a technical glitch here, sorry. One item in the administrative report, congratulations to Mr. Kelly for his successful completion. Not that it was ever in doubt, Craig. Congratulations on your successful completion of the municipal, what's it called? Director of Development Property Diploma in Municipal Administration. And of important note here, Craig has met the Dean's Honor Roll. So congratulations and hats off to Craig on this one. Well done, Craig. I know you were working on this for a little bit, and with the change in jobs, it mustn't have been easy for you. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well done. That's my report, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. And as a reward for getting those good marks, we'll turn the department report over to you, Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, Chair Hunt. Item number 1 on my report, starting on page 3, and again, starting on page 6 is the appendix, is a resolution carried forward from the Township of North Algona Wilberforce in opposition of 5G towers that may or may not be coming online within Renfrew County. So Ms. Catherine Stewart sends along a series of petitions with that. I shouldn't say she did not send it. The township sent along Ms. Catherine Stewart's petitions with their resolution. For your information at this time, earlier today, I have distributed a package of information from EORN in terms of the the steps they take for consultation with Health Canada and the regulations that federally regulate 5G towers, well, actually all towers, but 5G particularly. So that information has been circulated to you. Just to clarify, in the past, we have sent out a letter that's also attached as an appendix to those who have voiced their opposition on 5G towers previously to council. You'll note that in my wording of the letter that I sent out, basically a form letter suggesting that we are not, have not been having delegations, but that has changed since those letters have gone out. That letter has not gone to this group in response. So just to be aware that there's a timing issue, and we have not said otherwise to conflict with the fact that we are having delegations, as we just had Mr. Joe Hall. So I'll leave that for now, and then we'll come back and I can answer questions perhaps when I come back to questions on my report. Item number 2, and starting on page 11, is an update on the Algonquin land claim. It is noted from the province that, of course, the negotiations are ongoing and changing. But of note, once again, the province will be working with our planning group and with your municipalities to identify proper zoning and proper OP consistency with the lands that are in question to be transferred to the Algonquins, Ontario at a future time. So we'll be working with your municipalities and the Algonquins to determine the right zonings and the right official plan designation on those lands. There's also a few little notes in the appendix. The duty to consult, we're working with through OPA 31. Mr. Cheeseman is working on some new guidelines on how we will be consulting with the Algonquins moving forward and all Indigenous people. And that is something that we'll be working into OPA 31. And just again, establishing those protocols as we move forward and how we're going to work forward. Norm Lemke has offered to address council at some future time, Mr. Morrow, I believe. I think he's suggesting perhaps in November, I think at this point. So we will, based on some direction to staff, is to bring Mr. Lemke in to give us an update to council. Item number 3 is just a piece of information that your municipalities have received. If you recall, a lot of the work we've been doing with our municipalities is to create a leadership role in different things. And one of them is procurement, as we've discussed over the last little while through our service delivery review update. And as such, we started down the road of a procurement workshop back in June, of course, which was canceled because of the COVID-19 restrictions at that time. We've pivoted, and that is now being offered virtually next Wednesday. And we have a number of folks in your municipality and within our own who have registered for that procurement workshop and tendering workshop, and that should go forward next Wednesday with a full complement of folks. So thank you to your staff for joining us and making that happen. Item number 4, and Mr. Cheeseman might want to jump in here a little bit on some clarification. The Township of Whitewater Region has asked for consent approval, or authority for delivering consents or severances in their own municipality. So we've just received this letter. We are obviously swamped with creating new OP language, the OPA 31. We have not had a chance to go through their request in detail and provide that detail back to you at this time. But in essence, they're asking to be masters of their severance destiny. And we would like to provide the full report on what the ramifications to the county Renfrew will be if that was granted. And we would like to provide that to you at the November DAP committee with your approval on that. Chair, perhaps before I go resolutions, we can conquer the first 4 while they're fresh in the minds, and then we can go back to resolutions number 5.
Okay. So any questions on 5G cell towers? Councilor Emo.
Not a question, just to let you know that Roma is working on a resource guide for rural Ontario with regards to broadband and cell, and there will be concurrent sessions at the virtual conference in late in January. So we've been working on this. I say we, staff have been working on it with the board peering over their shoulder now for about 8 months. So a document should be coming out in the next little while. And to Craig's comments about the document that he circulated this morning from ERN, it's a very good document. I haven't read all the links yet, but it's a real good start, and I should note it's a draft. So if you have any comments, they're probably going to want to see your draft or your information. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. We also got an email from the Vice President of Rogers for the 5G coming to Arnprior, to which we've shared with the warden. I haven't had an opportunity to read it, but it had probably 4 or 5 bullets, or not email address, but the HTTP to go read, which I haven't had the opportunity to do, but we'll send it along.
Thank you. Moving further, okay. We'll move to item 2, Algonquin land claim. Warden Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. I just was looking for clarification. Does staff need direction now to invite Norm Lemke to be a delegation in our November County Council meeting, or do we already have that?
We do not have that. I see Mr. Morrow shaking his head at this point. Yeah, we do not have that.
I saw that too, so I would make that suggestion that we ask staff to contact Mr. Lemke to see whether or not the November County Council meeting would be an opportunity for him to be presented as a delegation.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Winwald, all in favor? Carried. And item 3, workshop contract tendering. Item 4, request for delegated authority, Township of Whitewater. I have one comment or suggestion, perhaps, especially for us newer councillors. I'm wondering at the time that you bring a report on this, if there could be some kind of a overview of the services that is provided to the lower tier municipalities by the department. I know we enjoy the expertise that the county has to offer in our township, and but sometimes we're unsure of what is provided as a service, what's provided for fees. So perhaps in us looking at Whitewater and making a decision and going forward, and rather than seeing the department picked apart in pieces, perhaps for all of council an overview of what the department presently provides to the lower tier municipalities would be advantageous.
They noted, sir.
Thank you. And turn it back to you, Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, sir. Item number 5 is a resolution. I'll read it to begin the conversation. Is that staff be directed to develop a community team of engaged businesses, citizens, and cultural representatives reporting to the Development and Property Committee for the purposes of communicating with Renfrew, Scotland. The quick and easy of this is that Renfrew, Scotland is more than happy and has gone through their channels to twin with Renfrew County, and they have developed their own committee. And what we're suggesting as staff is to form a committee at this time made up of a number of local individuals and businesses who can benefit from this and can create the proper linkages between the two communities, which will then result in a virtual handshake across the ponds over the next few months. So no one's traveling anywhere, of course, anytime soon, but we would like to do an actual virtual signing, if you will, between the committee chair, the warden, and other members of the community to make it worthwhile and move forward on initiatives that we can at least start virtually with the hopes of moving forward. Interesting to note, if those who are active on social media, if you were to follow Renfrew Shire and their sites, what they're going through is very akin to what we're going through in the shutdowns and the reopenings and the school testings. They are, like many communities, suffering the same things we are, but even things like task force and revenue generating ideas for businesses are very, very similar to our own. So we do have a very close relationship with them, whether things we invent are new or not, that we are sharing a lot of information back and forth. So we're looking forward to expanding that to businesses and local creative entrepreneurs. So with that, I'll leave that for discussion and for your approval.
do we discuss that now or move on?
We
to
should get a
the-
motion on the table, sir, and a motion and a second and then discussion.
Okay, so motion's on the table. I have someone to second that.
No, motion's not on the table, sir. It was
Oh,
a
it's
staff
not?
recommendation. Yeah, you just need a mover for and then a second.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's
So
okay.
moved by Councillor Lynch, seconded. Councillor Emo, and discussion. Warden Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not familiar, and I apologize, what a community team means as far as the county is concerned. I don't know if we have created any community teams. I don't know if there's a terms of reference, because again, if we're reaching out to engage the business community and our citizens, I'm sure that, there'd be people that would be interested, but they'd probably like to know what they're signing up for. So I'm just wondering if there's any kind of a clarification what that is going to be, if there's compensation involved. I know too that in the composition of this community team, there's no mention of council representatives. I don't know if that's an oversight or an intention. So I'm just looking to might be able to understand this better, please.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Moore, do you have your hand up?
Thank you, Chair. Just a question to Craig. Craig, I was wondering if you could give us a little bit of the background, and at the risk of putting you on the spot, there is past direction on this particular project in terms of direction to the past resolution, I believe, talking about moving forward with this partnership. Can you give us a little bit more background?
Through you, Chair. Yes, I can. So what council has passed is a series of, there is a terms of reference for the twinning. I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately, at this moment. There is a series basically discussing cultural references and how the business communities can twin and marry up like-minded individuals or otherwise. And that went through, I believe it was in May or early in spring of this year, the terms of reference identifying that. To your point about a community team, I would suggest to you that the team would have a similar makeup to a task force that we had for the Economic Development Task Force as a result of COVID-19, whereas you recall was not a formal ad hoc committee where there was members appointed to. The chair and the warden were part of that task force as welcoming ears to listen to, but were not formally appointed. It was fairly non-political, but the recommendations or suggestions, at least from that task force, were brought to and through staff to DP. Perhaps what we could do is entertain that type of informality, I guess, if you will, until such time as an ad hoc committee is, as the steering committee meets later in the year to discuss committee compositions. Perhaps the time of the new warden being sworn in December, and a conversation happens whether a new ad hoc committee is required at that time. So that's a bit of a kind of a thought behind this.
Councillor or Warden Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. And again, just so that, my comments aren't misinterpreted, I'm not against it. I just we need to understand what a community team was about. So if you, with the explanation about the the Economic Development Task Force that we have, or Economic Recovery Task Force, I understand exactly what you're suggesting here, so I'm fine with that.
Okay, anything further? So I'll call for a vote on the resolution. All in favor? Carried. And item 6, economic development.
Chair, that will be Mr. Baird.
Oh. Yes, sorry, Mr. Baird.
Thanks, Chair and committee. And so the economic development report in 3 parts, and economic development specifically first, starting on page, just getting back to it, page 17. And for information on business closures in non-metro Ontario. So the Rural Ontario Institute, a long-lived, well-known institute, did some data work and assembled a report about business openings, closures, and active businesses in rural Ontario. And that's attached starting page 20 for your information. I think one of the key points of interest there is at the bottom of page 20 into page 21 and the first and second of their pages, that rural Ontario largely paralleled urban Ontario on sort of closures and slowdowns or non-openings of business. That's not too surprising. We're all suffering sort of the same COVID effects. We also, so if I can move to item 2, we assembled some data from Renfrew County specifically, and including the city of Pembroke. So David Wybu, Business Development Officer, did just a quick run through to look at some of our employment situations. And we know from previous collections of data, we've actually had a number of new business openings here. We've definitely had some slowdowns. We've also had many of our manufacturers becoming very busy and looking, on the hunt for staff. So if you look at item number 2, the top row of the chart is jobs in 2019 with 40,373, 43,723. The postings, so those are the advertised jobs. If you look across from July to September in 2019, and the salary next over to the right, the salary for those advertised positions. So that then we look second line at 2020, you see we're actually seeking, we have more jobs in the county. And also in the next column, we also have more job postings from July to September in 2020. So that would reflect a growing dynamic employee hungry economy here in Renfrew County. And the median salary has posted has gone down a little, and that might reflect the sectors or the areas of employment where we're looking for people. So it's an interesting chart that shows likely we are bucking the trend to a certain point here in the county of all the rest of Ontario. We've certainly suffered a lot, and some businesses have, many non-openings in our tourism sector, all the slowdowns paralleling everybody else. But we're in an interesting position there. So again, there's a lot of data to analyze, putting your finger on the realities. It's an interesting look at the items 1 and 2 and seeing our job postings and the quest for new employees. That's a very positive sign from our business community in a very bad circumstance. Item 3, committee, is just referencing back to Joe Hall's presentation from EMTERRA Environmental. Again, exciting that we have them here and that they're expanding. Item 4 is just a quick summary overall of activities, because we try and keep the report here brief. Just we're involved in, and our ECDEV team is myself as manager, David Wybu, Business Development Officer, and Jackie Stott as Research Coordinator. So specific ECDEV team, these are some of the things we've been doing, working on a local food kitchen, assisting a distillery business, planning to establish here, and ongoing coordination of a nuclear supplier day trade show here in the Valley, which we've been involved in for years, but it'll be virtual this year. So Chair, that is the ECDEV report, and back to you.
Thank you. So any questions on item 1, business closures? Item 2, Renfrew County employment data. Item 3, EMTERRA. And item 4, economic development team activities. Councilor Remo.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Mr. Baird. Item C, that's, I think, consistent with the initial report by the Warden's Caucus about 2013. One of their recommendations, or one of their tasks, was to attract a food processing or drink and beverage processing facility to Eastern Ontario. So that's directly in line with that. I think there were a couple of other things as well, but I do recall that one.
Thank you. Okay, and we'll move to Ottawa Valley Tourist Association. Oh, sorry, Dan. Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair Tallister. Under I, the new hotel, are you allowed to say what municipality that could be going to?
Yes, Councillor, through you, Chair. So they're not really, they have no targeted municipality. They already own a property in Pembroke. They are looking for other opportunities. I can tell you openly that they were interested in opportunities for a hotel or some form of accommodation for contractors and staff associated with the nuclear labs, Chalk River Labs. And we're looking for property and or land or building suitable to perhaps serving a perceived demand there. But they really are interested in anywhere. We have introduced them to Arnprior, Renfrew, existing properties that they might want to investigate for purchase from the present operators. That was some time ago. It's an ongoing interest or enthusiasm for more hotel accommodation in the valley.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll go to Ottawa Valley Tourist Association, Mr. Baird.
Thanks, Chair. And the OVTA, Ottawa Valley Tourist Association report begins page 23. Item 1 for information, just the municipal photo shoot. So a new initiative. We haven't really done this before. We need more tourism-oriented photos. And certainly a lot of it is going to be, we know around our towns and villages and sites of interest, places people want to visit. We have a good collection of some of the outdoor-oriented materials and wilderness. Reached out to all the municipalities, and you can see the list there. Excellent, very enthusiastic response from our municipal partners to jointly develop a collection of new photographs of our towns and villages. And a greater response than we thought. And in fact, so successful, and obviously we're helping the municipalities and collaboratively here. We're not going to just do fall shooting. We're looking at winter and summer next year. We'll extend this program for all involved to build better collections of new imagery. So I think that's a really exciting initiative we're down the road on. Interesting to get photographers to help us with this work. They are extremely busy with private sector work and other jobs. So again, in the time of COVID, many sectors of the business community have a lot of paying activity going on. Item 2 is about the Ottawa Valley Tourism Awards. And we've been doing these annually for about 7 years. And we'd just bring into attention of committee and full council the opportunity to nominate people from your communities or people with whom you've done business with or have heard have done wonderful things around tourism. And the first award, Marilyn Alexander, Tourism Champion, for an individual, of course, who's done something outstanding or significant to contribute to tourism in our area. Business of distinction, a tourism business doing great, wonderful, noteworthy things in tourism. And to recognize that events are a big part of tourism and entertain us locals and attract visitors, a special event of the year that'll be tough this year, but special event of the year. And we just want to bring committee's awareness here and certainly encourage you to nominate people or suggest people to us and businesses. Chair, that is the OVTA report.
Thank you. So item 1, municipal photo shoot. Any questions? Seeing none, I have one, Mr. Baird. Any municipality that's not listed here, is it, can I assume that you already have photos, or is it too late to get in if it has been missed?
So thanks, Chair. And to answer, no, we reached out to all municipalities, and these are the ones who responded to us with interest. So we reached out to every municipality and the city of Pembroke directly from OVTA. These are the municipalities that responded to us and wanted to participate. And it is a cost sharing. So it's $500 per the municipality, and then we'll pick up the rest. And the municipality that participates can contribute to the shot list, the desired photo images we collect. Do bear in mind that we will be visiting other areas of the county to collect photos we need as OVTA, But if we're in a municipality that isn't participating at this point in time, we might only collect a couple that we know we want for our publications. So certainly, if you wish to participate down the road to your municipality, just let us know and we'll discuss it and try and schedule shootings. And then you have input on the types of photos you want taken.
Thank you. And item number 2, Ottawa Valley Tourism Awards. Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. Just a question. It's okay. Just a question. Is there a official nomination form, Alistair, that I should go looking for?
Through Chair, yes, Warden. And we've circulated that to all municipalities as well. We can certainly resend, and it's on the OVTA site as well. So we could resend that around to all municipalities one more time. It's the deadline not till mid-November, so we have good time to get submissions. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Okay, we'll move to Enterprise Renfrew and Mr. Baird again.
Thanks, Chair. ERC report, Enterprise Renfrew County, starting on page 25. Good news, item 1, Starter Company Plus, one of our key programs. We've awarded grants to 6 winners, and they really are winners. They won a hard-fought competition at Business Pitch to receive $5,000 of funding per business to use in the business operations and growth. Out of the 12 firms competing, here are the 6 winners. Studio Dream, and you can see them there. An interesting mix of businesses in this cadre of Starter Company Plus, and scattered fairly nicely around the valley. And we have started, just so committee understands, our next intake of Starter Company Plus is really open now to start our next 4-month session. Item 2, it regards the, well, that's the notice, our winter intake for Starter Company Plus. So that's open, and we've been getting new registrations for the next 4-month cycle of training. And at the end of that period of training, those who wish may compete for funding as well in a business pitch competition. And Chair, that is the ERC report.
Thank you. So any questions on item 1, Starter Company Plus? Warden Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. So through you to Alistair. So we have $60,000, I'm assuming, in the pot, and is that correct?
More than this is an ERC program sponsored by the province of Ontario. So we've awarded some funds earlier in the year to another intake, and from this budget cycle, which runs until March 31st, 2021, we'll also be awarding up to 6 awards to this winter intake that is now open.
Okay, so I'm just wondering if there was more money in that pot, would there have been more than 6 people, do you think, would have qualified? No, what I'm getting at is just, the fact that these people actually are going to try to start a business amidst a pandemic is absolutely incredible. So I'm just wondering if there was more funds. I'm not sure where we get those funds, but if there are more funds out there, would we see more viable businesses at least trying to start?
That's a good question as far as viability. This cadre here, where these 6 winners came from, was started as 15 businesses in the intake, and 12 of them elected to compete. 3 of them did not. So either not interested in that competition or not feeling they need the funding. If some of the businesses are new, being just planned and developed, some are existing and operating businesses. So more money, we would be able to give more awards, certainly. No question there.
Okay. Warden Robinson.
Just to follow up then, but the money that in this program is all 100% provincially funded, is that correct?
Through Chair, yes, Warden. It's supplied by the province of Ontario directly, as are our additional operating funds to deliver the program.
Thank you.
Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. To follow up on what the warden was saying, with the budgeted amount that we get from the province, if other communities aren't using their full amount, can we tap into what they didn't use?
Yeah, through Chair to Councillor Lynch, meaning other outside Renfrew County and the city of Pembroke, where we are collaborators in that. No, we don't think so. In bygone years, in our summer company program, also sponsored by the province of Ontario, we occasionally were allowed to tap the slippage from some other communities, but not with this program. I will add though, if I may, Chair, we are actually ourselves taking $3,000 of summer company budget money provided by the province and diverting it into this program for to provide some additional award in this winter intake. So within our own envelope of funding, this year we are permitted to move funds around between summer company and starter company plus.
Anything further? Seeing none. And we'll move to forestry and GIS. Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, committee members. The forestry GIS report can be found on page 27 of your committee package. Item number 1 is just the activity tracker for the month of September for the county forester and the forestry trail technician positions. And just again to highlight, the majority of the time for the county forester is looking after the operations of the 2020 operations and preparing for the 2021 operations. Also, just to highlight, you'll see a bit of an uptick on the forestry trail technicians worker support in the forestry of the management of the county forest. Again, this is the balancing time where the additional needs of staffing for the operations and for the 2021 operations coming up, where the trails position of Anthony Hobbs gets moved a little bit towards the forestry section. Item number 1B is just even though it's COVID times, we still support the Algonquin College, and you'll see there we had a college two-week placement for Shay Duffy for forestry work. So Mr. Duffy had some time with the county forester and some good times with the trails Anthony Hobbs to get some balanced approach of both forestry and trails with the county of Renfrew. So good on Mr. Duffy to keep going with the co-op placement during these COVID times. Item number 1C is a little bit different. Outside the work of the county of Renfrew, the committee may or may not be aware that Miss Lacey Rose, the county forester, is an international success story with a company called Volvo Penta. She has been for a number of years working with this company, doing some videos called Muddy Jobs at different places throughout the world. And the latest video, even though it's COVID times, there was a video produced in Renfrew County, and I wouldn't mind if, with your permission, Chair, to have a 4-minute video if Sean could get this going for us and have a bit of an update of what Lacey's been doing for the past number of years on the side job of Volvo Penta. But in this situation, she is recognizing the county of Renfrew in her role here as the county forester. So if you could, Sean.
All over the world, society keeps on running thanks to mighty machines and their operators.
We're going to put the pedal to the metal.
Join us as we look back on our adventures so far. This is Mighty Jobs, powered by Volvo Penta. So, welcome to my Mighty Job. When I'm not hosting this series, I'm the forester for the county of Renfrew. That means that I am out here collecting data in the forest, marking trees for harvest, looking for and protecting wildlife values, supervising logging operations, and basically making sure that forests grow back when we're done. My favorite part is when I get to talk to people about what forestry is. I did a little bit of this in a video for a local film producer several years ago. Then one day I got a message from someone in Sweden asking if I would be interested in hosting a web series about heavy equipment engines. I thought that was pretty weird, but after a lot of research and some video chats, off I went to Sweden to get to work on the first episode. Now, more than 2 years and 8 episodes later, I'm so grateful for the adventures we've had. Everything from hanging out in a top secret underground mine in Finland to crushing 5 million-year-old rocks in Northern Ireland. So what happens if it's too big?
Well, we'll see in a minute if it's too big.
To driving a pilot boat in the Norwegian Sea. It's been so incredible meeting all of the operators and seeing their skills in action. Some of them even have secret talents.
When that trouble comes, yeah, you know I'm praying for him. Before I go to sleep, yeah, you know I'm praying for him.
I really enjoyed visiting the forest in Sweden, being in my natural habitat and talking forestry with Franz. He was the first one brave enough to let me try his machine. But after that, I got to try my hand at all the equipment. Some were so bad that it did not make the video.
No.
I'm so qualified. But the worst has got to be when I rammed the sugarcane harvester into the ground in India.
Oh, we're really stuck now. Now I've done it.
I'm not the only one who's messed up though. I'll never let our cameraman Jonathan forget the time when we were in Atlanta, about to shoot a big fire drill at the world's busiest airport. The fire was burning, the firefighters were ready, and he forgot the memory card. When he was rushing to get it, the fire actually got so big that the firefighters really had to struggle to put it out and almost ran out of water. It made for some really good footage though, so well done, Jonathan. One of the best parts of this experience has really been what goes on behind the scenes. We're a small crew that go on these adventures together, and we've become like this weird little family that I really look forward to seeing. When we were in Northern Ireland and we got to the inn we were staying at, the power was out in the whole community. But that actually ended up being one of the highlights of the trip, because we hung out around the fireplace with some really nice Irish brothers who were playing music. It made me feel like I was at home in Newfoundland. Speaking of power outages, it was incredible to meet Generator Jimmy at Sweden Rock, whose job is to make sure that doesn't happen. I still can't believe the access that we got there. It was really cool to see behind the scenes at a music festival like that, and they let us go on stage. Being in front of 30,000 people is not something I ever saw myself doing.
Hey, Daisy!
Sweden Rock! The common theme in all these adventures has been the amazing people and machines doing vital and sometimes overlooked jobs in our society. Miners, harbor workers, harvesters, skippers, they keep our world spinning. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I can't wait to see where we'll find ourselves next time. Until then, thanks for watching.
So thank you, Chair, for your indulgence, and committees. Thank you for Lacey too for her international success. And now back to the more of the mundane things of county forestry. So moving on to page 28 of your committee package, item number 1D, an update on the 2020 operations. And you can see in the report there, we have finished 2 additional tracks for this year, the Elliott Tract and the Beachbird Tract. And what you'll also see in the chart provided is where we're at in the revenues. So again, as a reminder, we budgeted $180,000 for this 2020 year, and we're at 128,000. We have some tracks left to be completed. We are still on track to meet this target. It'll be close. You'll notice the Simpson Pit track was a little less than expected, but that too is to be expected sometimes when we're above expectations and sometimes we're below. So in this situation, we're a little bit below, but we're still on track for the $180,000 for revenue for 2020. And the last item in the report, Chair, is just the GIS activity tracker, and you'll find that on page 29 of your committee package. And a total of 85 GIS projects were completed in the month of September. So Chair, that is the end of the forestry GIS committee package.
Oh,
Chair.
Chair, use microphones off.
Sorry about that. Okay, thank you, Mr. Davis. Any questions on forestry activities? 1A, 1B, 1C. Warden Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. Just a comment, Jason, thank you for showing that to us. For some reason, I could not get that video to run no matter how many times I tried yesterday. And Mr. Moore, I'm hoping we can include that on the agenda for County Council, because that's absolutely wonderful. So proud of her.
Thank you, and it sure is. 1D. And 2, GIS. Seeing none, thank you. And we'll move to real property assets and back to Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, Chair. And again, I echo the comments of Ms. Rose. She's quite the fireball, and it's nice to see her recognized. Again, thank you, Warden, for bringing that forward to County Council. It's fun. I mean, those videos are fun. It's fun to watch the evolution of those as they grow. So, on page 30, and again, Mr. Velikid's really swamped with the project, as you saw over the last couple of months with the renovations here. So I've let him off the hook for today's committee, but I'm starting on page 30 as his detailed report. Pages 32 and the following page 33 are the projects update and the capital and under capital projects, under threshold projects that are continuing. So no matter how busy we are with the renovation project, other projects continue to be done and completed before year's end. So that's a bit of an update on where we are at with the other buildings and the things we have ongoing. Item number 3 is a note that we are required every year to do reporting on our energy reporting and conservation efforts here. We are, and it has been noted, of course, our climate action plan. Councillor Donahue wanted us to complete. We are in the midst of doing that. We really are hoping for some support from FCM to complete this. We're watching the Lanark County example as well. A lot of it will change, and not making an excuse whatsoever on that, is that a lot of it's going to change with our efforts moving forward on this building and how we bring those efforts forward. So we have continued work on that, and that will continue going on in the next little while. Item number 4 is the SDIP, or the Service Delivery Improvement Project. Of course, the renovation here at the project. Phase 1 is due to be turned over to us on November 9th. We had just had a committee or a meeting of the contractors. Were on schedule for the 9th as a handover and occupancy permit for that time period. So we are working with our movers and our staff who will be occupying phase 1 on a bit of a safe re-entry into that space and making sure all the offices are ready to go for those that are required in the offices at that time to be operational on November the 9th. Phase 1B, as Kevin has determined, is the courtroom and POA offices, and those are still on schedule for December the 15th. And a lot of the exterior work, while the weather is good, is underway. So new sidewalks, some work in the courtyard, and the work of the front entrance continues and should be wrapping up over the next week or two. And just a final note that furniture and a few other items are being moved in at the end of October, first week in November. So working around hunting season, of course, and some of the requirements around that has been tricky, but we're working through that. The health unit, as many have noted over the last while, is due to exit their lease as of November 1st in this building. I have seen notice as well that they have made alternate arrangements while their place is under construction to move into a temporary location, I believe at the East End Mall in Pembroke in the interim while their construction continues. So as of November 1st, the rest of the building is about to be dismantled and reconstructed. So that will continue in earnest after their departure. So with that, Chair, is the Real Property Assets Division report. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Questions on real property, number 1. Number 2, real property capital and capital under. Number 3, public reporting. Number 4, service delivery improvement. Thank you. And we'll move to the Planning Division report. Mr. Cheeseman.
Thank you, Vice Chair, members of committee. My report this month is a short report. The first item is our Planning Division Activity Tracker for September 2020, and we indicated we opened 10 new severance applications and prepared 20 checklists for general inquiries, although we also have a lot of other inquiries that are not these formal types, so we're busy with those. For the period January to September, we've opened 74 applications compared to 78 over the same period in 2019. You'll see that with respect to decisions, many fewer decisions compared to last year. And it's a combination of workload, other things going on, COVID, agency comments. But I think as we, in the months going forward, we'll start to catch up and get those number of decisions rendered to match the 2019 pace. So I just hope, ask for your patience on that. Item 2 is a community benefits charge regulation under the Planning Act. Attaches Appendix Plan 2 is correspondence from the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing advising municipalities of the new community benefits charge. We've also provided a background from AMO. I am no expert in this field. We do not have a development charges bylaw here at the county, but I know many of you local municipalities do. And I provided this for your information to share with your local municipalities. And some of this information you already may have seen, but I hope it is of some help. And committee, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. So do we have any questions or comments on item number 1, Planning Division Activity Tracker? None. Number 2, Community Benefits Charge. Seeing none. And is there any business?
I need a mover to, for the report as a whole.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor TJ. Seconded. Councillor Keller. All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Thank you, Evelyn. Is there any new business? Mr. Kelly.
Vice Chair, just a comment about the Warden's Awards, just a reminder to this committee that the Warden's Awards are currently up for nomination. And if you could, or feel that's necessary to nominate someone either in your committee or another committee to one of those 3 nominated areas of expertise, then please do so.
Thank you. And we have no closed meetings. The date of the next meeting is November 10th. And I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor TJ, seconded by Councillor Robinson. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.